So you've done all that to build your shot so far? You come into your anchor. All right, you still haven't aimed your bow. This is when you aim your bow. This can be a bit tricky because a lot of folks have problems with sight picture. They want to shoot the second they see the target. They want to shoot, they hold off the target, so on and so forth. What I can advise you, or what I have for you, is that aiming is seemingly like one of the most important parts of the shot, and it's very important, but if everything else is not repeatable and built well, including the release that follows the aim, then it doesn't matter how good of an aim you put on the target. It is important to put a good and predictable aim on the target, but again, I think, or I know it is way too big of a focus for other folks than it is for me, and the less I focus on the aim, the better. And so you'll come to that aiming section, and we'll talk about that, or again, look to the 3-under and the split finger and that aiming. That'll talk to you more about aiming and how to aim, if you will. And so once you put that good aim on that target, affirm it, but then you need to move on. That's not your last job. Your last job is that very conscious, deliberate release and follow through. Driving that tiny bit of what we call expansion and last bit of back tension. So to finish your shot, you built it up this far, you come into your anchor, you aim, and then just a very deliberate release. And when you release, you need to be holding your bow in the exact same place as before the arrow left. You need to try to maintain that sight picture as very best you can, not collapse your bow, not let it drop. Just keep that nice and straight, and you want to be shooting at the very least without the arrow going forward, but ideally we like to shoot under increasing, what they call increasing tension for a shot. And the way that we do that is, I'll show you with the stretch band so I don't shoot my back window out here. You get to here, and how they tell us to drive that release or drive that expansion is they tell us to think about there being a little dot on the back of our tricep right in the middle, and they call it LAN2, L-A-N-2. I don't know, that's what it's called. And so it's right there, and let's see if this is the right angle. No, this is better angle. So you are directly behind me on the shooting line. I'm shooting that direction. Sorry, shooting that direction, and you're the guy like right behind me. There's someone in front of me. We're all facing that way. Okay, so they talk about when you get into this position, LAN2 is here. They talk about driving that right down the shooting line behind you, and that is how you finish a shot with back tension. That's how you get that really sweet snap and finish over the shoulder. Tom calls it, snatching the golf ball on the shoulder, but I'll show it to you a couple times here. And so you just drive that tension straight through, and you want to, if anything, you're pushing this front hand towards the target. You don't want this front hand to go out, you don't want it to collapse in, but it is okay to be pushing it towards the target. I mean, that's a good thing to be thinking about on the front. So you check your target, yep, aim, I like it, and then you just expand through the shot. Nice and easy. Do it one more time. And in the Solid Archery Mechanics Advanced, you can check out, Tom talks about one of the things that's so amazing about this is just how fast and subconscious the release can be. I will leave it to that course to really explain it, because Tom is who he is for a reason. But suffice to say, the subconscious and ingrained abilities that are in your mind and in your body to let go, and to let go without your fingers dragging, are amazing. And so if you just focus on that tension, and your focus is not on, oh, how to let go of the string, but just increasing tension, your hand will just let go of the string like fairly naturally, in the same way that when you're holding that piece of luggage or that heavy bucket of water I told you about with your hook down here, the way to let go of it isn't to just make a big drastic movement, right? You just let go. And so it's something like that. And you can see, let's see, there we go. You can watch my release here. It's just, I'm not trying to make it a release or anything. What I'm really focusing on, all I'm thinking about is, that my tip of my elbow, just when I'm back here, just moving the slightest bit that way to get as deep into that back as I can and just drive through the shot. And after that, follow through. Like, that's a humongous part of the shot. I was just telling you, aim is not the end of the shot. Shooting the bow is not the end of the shot. They actually include a reflection step, which I absolutely think is really important in archery. A lot of times we're just at the range picking up an arrow, just slinging the arrows. And listen, there's a time and place for that. That's awesome. I love that. But I think it's also important, if we're trying to develop something as powerful of a tool as a hunting shot, that we'd be very deliberate about it. And so there's a reflection period, particularly when you do a really good shot. We want to stop, and we don't really want to think in archery about what went wrong. We really want to focus on what went right. What do we want to take forward from that last shot? What went really well in that shot? And so that's another really great thing about having this system, is as you get to know it better, as you get to know your shot better, you can really self-diagnose quickly in the field. For me, I often collapse. I don't kind of follow through on my shot. I get a little bit tired or lazy. And so depending on where your arrow hits, if it hits down, if it kind of hits low and right, maybe if you pluck instead of that nice clean follow through, if you're really sticky on your release or think about it too much or that kind of thing, maybe your arrow impacts in a certain spot for you. And so you can really self-diagnose, and you can break down, okay, did I set my hook? Did I set my grip? Did I get to that good anchor? Did I think about back tension? All those things. And so this can be a really powerful system for self-diagnosis, for self-coaching. And again, shameless plug, go check out shootsolid.com. Oh God, ouch. Sorry, a mosquito came at me real hard. So I hope that was helpful in helping you build a shot for your particulars and nuances. You will need to add, like I said at the beginning, you might need to add, like, knock an arrow 2 or 3 or 4 times to make sure it happens. You may need to add something like stand up straight. You may need to add that you really like to grip the bow. And so whatever it is, you just build a shot process for you. I shared it in the aiming segment, but I'll share it here again, that one of the most important things for my shot process is entirely separating the aim from the release. And the way that I do that is I have a saying in my head that I say every single shot between the aim and the release. After I set my aim, I say it, and that saying this lets my mind move on to the next job. It's relaxation, it's trust, it's acknowledgement that I have built everything to the best of my ability in that shot so far, and now I need to do the next job in the sequence, which is release. And so I need to give that aim over to the subconscious for the time that it can maintain it, which is a few seconds for sure, and focus on the release. And I'll share with you the words. The words I can hear Tom Clum Sr., of course, in my head saying, "Yep, I like it." And I can hear him in his nice, relaxed, approving, knowledgeable tone, and I can just feel them over my shoulder at the range when we're having fun. And I just hear them go, yep, I like it. And I have it on my bow here, I'll show you in just a minute. I have it written on tape on a couple of my bows, and it's just to remind me that I need to integrate that into the process. And I recommend it be something calm like that, be something repeatable like that. Getting amped up or going, yeah, now's the time, or yelling at yourself or whatever. That's not a great release strategy. Something that kind of brings you down and is repeatable as far as energy is ideal. And so again, I build my great shot. Get to here. Yep. Like it. And that gives me the confidence to bring my mind. The way that I describe it to folks is I bring my mind from up here. My mind is up here in the aim. It is all focused there. My head is in my hand and in my eye, and that's all it is. And I move it, my entire focus of my existence. I move my subjectivity to the tip of my elbow. I move everything I have back there, and I'm still looking at that, but it's a very softened look. I'm not kind of moving my head or eye or anything. I've just said it. Sure, I'm still looking at it, but at that point, my mind has moved from here to here, and within about 3 seconds, that shot's going off as I go through my breathing and relaxation back there. So I hope that helped you build a shot, like I said. And integrate other things that we go through in this. You may need to focus on not doing shoulder pulling. You may notice that you're going between that and back tension a lot. You may notice that you're not quite getting to a good alignment if you're shooting a traditional bow every time. And so we'll talk more about those things in the other segments, but I wanted to help you build a shot from the ground up and give you a shot process and a shot sequence that you can modify for you.